Drivers, start your engines!
It's MRN Motorsports Monday, the place for the latest news and loudest opinions, direct from the guys at the track. Presented by Outback Steakhouse. The stories, views, and opinions expressed on MRN Motorsports Monday are not likely shared by anyone, anywhere. Results may vary, so you should talk to your doctor before watching.
What's up, Doc?
Today's episode is brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Pace car is on.
Here's Woody Kane.
Oh, boy, am I glad to see you guys!
I knew you'd come back, Woody.
And Joey Meyer.
Just a reminder, if you're asking me a question on the radio, just keep talking till I answer it for you, all right?
MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Back with you again, and it is a bloomin' Monday because Kevin Harvick had a top 10 finish Saturday night at Kentucky. Head by, get a free
bloomin' onion. It's free.
All you got to do is just go in there and
show
say,
up.
Yeah,
say you're
give
Joey.
Me a free bloomin' onion.
You don't need a Joey.
This is the Joey for the Joey menu, not for you, for the kids menu. It's fantastic. Check it out. Great lunch specials starting at about $5. You can't go wrong. Head over to Outback Steakhouse. But we're here to talk about a big weekend at Kentucky and a big weekend coming up at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 3 races in 3 days, but we almost didn't get there. Christopher Bell wins the truck race. He'll be along a little bit later on to tell us about it. Kyle Busch wins the Xfinity race, and people lose their minds as usual. And then Martin Truex Jr. just really put it to the field Saturday night in the Cup race at Kentucky.
Yeah, so we actually had a triple header, but not really, because we had a double header.
Yeah.
We ran 2 races on one day due to weather on Friday. We ran a fantastic truck race almost into 2 days because we got done.
We did.
We got done, started Thursday and ran into Friday morning.
Yep.
And we saw a dominating show on that. Again, Kyle Busch wins an Xfinity race, but it wasn't the fastest car.
Yes,
the
he
fastest
wasn't,
car
right.
got put to the back for a
Yep.
penalty and drove all the way back to the front. Little Ryan Blaney, as we like to call him, and he says, I'm an adequate pilot, so he was an adequate driver. Did a good job getting all the way back to second. And again, the dominant car won Saturday night in the Cup Series. So for 3 races, 3 different perspectives, and at the end of the day, the new pavement, not everybody's tickled pink about Kentucky Speedway, but we're done with it and we move on.
I'll say this, had they not repaved that track, there's no way we would have gotten that truck race in Thursday into Friday because the old surface was too porous. They would have never been able to get it dry in time.
You know, it's interesting, the pavement, they actually paved it twice in 2 years. Last year's was a new repave, and then they actually had to go over and repave it again due to some deficient or faulty pavement, and they were getting ahead of that. So we actually ran 2 races in 2 years on brand new pavement. We saw some different ideas with tire dragging, and if we stay tuned later on, we're going to hear what an off-track tire dragging is, because I think we can do a better job with that, but we'll move on.
All right, we got a lot to get through in today's show, but first let's hear from Martin Truex Jr. after he won the big race in Kentucky Saturday night.
I'm glad it's over, I can tell you that. I was a little worried. I was a little nervous, thinking, this is going to be a tough one. The guys, they all pitted behind us, had better tires, but, I knew my tires were still pretty good. I'd taken care of them pretty good on that run, and, they weren't really falling off a whole bunch, so I felt okay about that. I was more worried that just getting going. I wasn't getting a good launch all night long on restarts, and that was kind of the one place I struggled. Out of everything all night tonight was, Kyle seemed like he'd get a good jump on me on restarts, and so I was a little worried about that. Just tried to make sure I could get the 42 to get to me before I got to the start-finish line, tried to give me a shove, and he did it perfect. He slammed me in the butt, and off we went. So I got to thank him for the help and doing a good job, and here we are.
Martin Truex Jr., the latest multi-time winner. He's won 3 races now and is 1 point behind Kyle Larson in the season championship. The regular season championship is going to be key, being able to take some more of those playoff points through. But if Martin Truex Jr. keeps going at this clip, it might be tough for anybody to have a shot to derail him before they get to Homestead.
Forget the 3 wins. He has double the playoff points of the next guy, and he's got 13 stage wins. The next person with stage wins has 3.
Yeah, and you carry those playoff points all the way through the playoffs.
They're playing this whole playoff stage point. Cole Pearn and those guys in Denver have sat down with their strategy, unlike any other race team, because other race teams are giving up those points with the idea of trying to win the race. Truex, first time triple header, both stages and the race win.
Yeah, and he is running away with the points battle, and it's going to be difficult to do anything to reel him in before Homestead if he keeps going along at this clip. Big show for you today. As we mentioned, Christopher Bell, the truck winner, Thursday into Friday at Kentucky, will join us. The next race for those guys is Eldora coming up, and he is a dirt track ace, so we'll talk to him about that as well. On track, off track comes up in our next segment, however, and your driver had some choice words after he crashed out of the race. We'll do all that on MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Stay right there.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
After more than 1 million hours of development, the truck of the future has arrived. The new Cascadia from Freightliner, inspired by science, driven by passion. It's loaded with driver-focused improvements, such as noise abatement technologies for an even quieter ride, an innovative wraparound dashboard for improved comfort, and a reimagined driver's lounge that promotes productivity and relaxation. Experience the new Cascadia at your dealer or online at Freightliner.com.
Hey, this is Joey Logano. You're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane. How does Joey have a co-host? They talk so much.
We'll try to get a word in edgewise along the way, but
all
Joey,
fun and
all the
games.
guys love to give you crap, and I enjoy that as well as we move along. Let's talk a little on track, off track following the weekend at Kentucky Speedway. We saw a lot out there Thursday, Friday, not so much, and then Saturday, the big doubleheader. For you, what is the thing that jumped out from over the weekend?
You know, over the weekend, you don't want to complain all the time, right? But you see a pattern. Like if something happens once, you're like, okay, that just happened once.
Mm-hmm.
At Charlotte, they worked on the bottom groove at Charlotte. And everybody that I talked to, racing crew chiefs, like, why are we working on the bottom lane? It's already going to be there.
You're going to do that anyway from practice and all that.
So we take the tire dragon and we go to Michigan. And what lane do we work on? We worked on the bottom lane.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's the shortest way around. It's the way the drivers are going to go there anyway, because that's where the advantage is. We don't need to work on that bottom groove. You're like, okay, hey, we need to talk to the tire dragon because we actually use VHT at Charlotte. We use the tire dragon. But now we go to Kentucky, they have new pavement, and they worked on that thing for 4 or 5 different sets of tires. And where'd they work? The bottom lane.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom lane doesn't need to be utilized to make it better. It's going to be used by the drivers already.
That's the first place they're going to go when they go out on the track, and that's simply,
It's simply mathematics. It's the shortest way around, so that's the fastest way around. The reason we need to use a tire dragging machine, which just drags tires, that's the reason we call it the tire dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not dragging, it's dragging the tires. Okay, okay. We need to work outside the bottom groove because we're naturally going to go to the bottom groove.
And let's back up for a second. When you say work, they're dragging the tires, they're putting down that rubber on the track. That normally happens during practice, qualifying, and support races.
Exactly right. When we see tracks take rubber, it takes it where the cars run all the time. They're going to be on the bottom. In order for me to be able to pass you, I have to get around you. I can't keep in the same lane, so I need the track to be a little bit wider. That's where the tire dragging machine is utilized. And the machine itself is working really well. We just have to be a little smarter on what we're using and how we're using it. And we saw them go back and try to drag the middle after the drivers came to the track and said, hey, we need to drag it middle. The problem was they already did the damage by using the bottom lane as their initial lane of using
it wasn't damage, it just didn't do it wasn't as much of an advantage from using the other lanes.
You couldn't make the middle lane more advantageous than the bottom because the bottom had already been drugged.
Right.
And that's the difference.
Now, we had a bunch of rain Thursday, Friday as well. A lot of the crew chiefs on the truck side that I talked to said they did a pretty good job of arcing the machine and not just stay completely around that bottom groove, so that helped a little bit. But we've heard this for, weeks now from several different drivers, teams, spotters, you name it. Work those upper grooves and then let us worry about the bottom groove as we're racing.
Yep, I agree.
So
100%.
that's definitely something we'll look forward to, or look to see what happens in the future as they continue to try and make these tracks a little bit better. For me,
what's got your hair on fire?
I don't have any hair, but it was on fire. It burned off. The thing that NBC is doing right now, I really like the thought of catching the driver of that immediate emotion when he gets out of the truck or the car, right there on the start-finish line in front of all the fans. That's just raw, pure emotion, and the sport needs more of that.
Tire smoke, rubber's flying.
It's just as cool
How
as
do
can
you
be.
feel?
Right,
Exactly.
I love it.
Yep.
It's great. But then you don't need to go to victory lane and talk to the same guy about the same race again. Do somebody different. Do a crew chief. Do a spotter. Do a parent of one of the guys. Whatever it turns to be. Team owner, yeah, any of that can work if you go into victory lane with a different mindset. But to do the same thing with the same guy twice, I don't think that serves anybody very well.
To use a social media term, it's almost like a retweet.
It is. It's almost like a retweet. No question about it. You know,
exactly
for folks who don't know, typically when the guy comes into victory lane, he doesn't immediately just jump out of the car and TV goes. They hold him in the car because they want to catch that climb out moment. They can sit there for 5 minutes or more waiting for them to get the cue to come out of the car. By that time, some of that raw emotion has dissipated. So I get the concept of talking to the guy right there on the start-finish line after he's done his burnouts and the crowd is roaring and all that. It's really cool. I don't think we need to do it again.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a new thing. Hopefully NBC, which has done this now, I've seen it in other series as well. We're going to only do it in the companion races with the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and of course the Monster Energy Series. So hopefully they're going to keep evolving, but it is a new concept. And they're just trying to get the fans more interaction and getting that raw emotion.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we'll continue to see evolve as we move forward as well. Now, another thing that happened is your driver had a rough night, crashed out. He was the defending winner of this race. And I did like your tweet, by the way, about remember last year when the truck caught on fire. Not the competitive race truck, a truck out in the parking lot of a fan caught fire and just basically burnt to the ground.
Yeah, evidently after looking into it, a cell phone charger caught fire inside the vehicle. That car had an immense fireball and it actually caught 2 cars beside it on fire.
It was crazy.
Nothing like that in the parking lot. Very good. Good kudos to you guys fixing that.
But after your driver had his incident that took him out of the race, he spoke to the media outside the care center, and here's what he had to say.
You know, I'm probably as much frustrated with myself as I am frustrated with the situation, and then frustrated with the sport that we can't design a better car than this that you can race, you know, without having to do everything on the restart. But you know, there's limitations. The way this car is, it needs a lot more help than a tire dragon. It's a poorly designed race car, and it makes racing on tracks like this very difficult to put on the show we want to put on for our fans. And you got to put yourself in bad situations to do that, and that's where we were. But if you don't make those moves on the restarts, then you run in the back or you have a bad day. So it's just the scenario that the car design more than the track. Oh, it's time for this sport to design a new car that's worthy of where this sport deserves to be and the show it deserves to put on for its fans.
All right, well, let's be clear.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, we saw a driver that was frustrated after not winning. He finished second or third, came in and dropped the mic, and everybody gave him down the road for not speaking his mind.
And then his teammate came in the next time in the media center and made fun of him by doing the same thing.
What we clearly saw yesterday is a driver getting out of the care center after wrecking and speaking with frustration. Brad Keselowski was very frustrated and spoke some frustrations about the design of the car. Later on, he clarified and goes,
He did. He says, like anyone else, bad days suck for me and sometimes I lose my cool. But he did put a post later clarifying and amplifying what he had said.
His frustration was from the fact that he felt frustrated simply because we call it busting his butt. He busted his butt going in the corner and felt like he was frustrated, and he came out and said frustration, but he clarified it later on. Kudos to him for actually speaking his mind. I've always said there are 3 drivers that give back more to this sport than people give credit for. That's Dale Jr., Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch. And if we need to have arguments about that, go look at their race shops.
Yeah, I don't think we need to have that argument, but some people still don't believe it.
Right. I know Kyle Busch wins in the Xfinity Series, and I know he wins in the Truck Series, but he's giving back more to this sport than just about any other driver except for Dale Jr. and Brad Keselowski. We just had off track. We talked about the tire dragon and the victory lane. My on track to give kudos where kudos is going. A couple years ago, we had a weather phenomenon at Pocono, and the teams were delayed in getting information to them from NASCAR. We were caught up in some very severe weather. We've now gone on the other side of that. Very good job on NASCAR using technology and surrounding applications to notify teams as quickly as possible. shutting down qualifying early on Friday. We only ran 2 stages of qualifying instead of the 3, and that allowed those guys to be prepared for the weather that was moving in. It wasn't raining yet. There was some lightning off in the distance, but because of technology, it allowed NASCAR to notify the race teams well in advance to get those cars back to the garage, get them inside and safe for all the officials and everything. So kudos to those guys, because that was something that 5 years ago we would have been running qualifying until it started raining at the track.
Yeah.
And by that time it was too late and very unsafe.
Yeah. Now my on track is tied a little bit to what Brad Keselowski said there. He mentioned designing a new car. NASCAR is beginning the preliminary talks right now about what we're going to have going forward, 2018 and beyond. Those are preliminary, and we don't know what that's going to look like yet, but all these ideas you hear floating around are about to be hashed out and are being discussed right now.
Yeah, anytime we have technology moving forward, we're going to see a new car design. The drivers, we go through this every 3 or 4 or 5 years. We see a new design of car, simply trying to make the competition better, keep the cost not really controlled, but a little more under control.
All right, we're going to take another time out here on MRN Motorsports Monday. When we come back, Christopher Bell, he won the truck race Thursday into Friday at Kentucky. We'll discuss that with him after this.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Where will you be when NASCAR comes to Chicago's fastest loop? 4 days of racing, tailgating, camping, and music come to Chicagoland Speedway September 14th through the 17th. Tickets for Sunday Chicagoland 400 are available now. Camping spots are available and selling fast. All kids tickets $25 off adult price and free on certain race days. Get your tickets and campsite now at ChicagolandSpeedway.com. Chicagoland Speedway, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs start here.
It's almost Busch o'clock. A time for relaxing and unwinding with a crisp, cold Busch beer. It's the most refreshing time of the day. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. Busch. Crisp, cold Busch. Enjoy responsibly. Busch Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Jones with his best run yet. 1 bullet left of the gun. If you can do it, trying to loosen Christopher Bell up or at least get close enough. Truck length separation as they hit the back straightaway.
And here they come off turn 2, halfway down the back stretch. Same old story. Bell to the bottom, back to the outside. Truck length in hand over Brandon Jones. Christopher Bell off forward for the final time.
Tonight at Kentucky Speedway, Christopher Bell will win for the 3rd time this season. He wins the Buckle Up in Your Truck 225.
That's the way it sounded early Friday morning, actually, at Kentucky Speedway, as Christopher Bell notched his 3rd win of the year in that Toyota for Kyle Busch Motorsports, and he joins us on the guest line now. Christopher, congratulations, man. A strong truck, and even though it wasn't as easy as it may have sounded in that last lap, you wound up at the front at the right time.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It was definitely an exciting win, and a win that I'm really proud of.
Christopher, you start the year off with a new crew chief, and most teams have a development time, but here we are 10 races into the season. You've got 3 victories, all top 10 finishes except for 1. We had 1 small occurrence earlier in the year that didn't allow you to finish the race. But what's been the chemistry and how has it been working with KBM? Are you directly, just you and your crew chief, or are you guys moving outside to try to gather that communication a little better?
Well, so I've been around KBM for, I think this is my 4th year at Kyle Busch Motorsports. So I've been around my crew chief, Rudy, for a while now. Although we haven't worked together for 4 years, we've been around each other. We've seen each other in the shop. We've had conversation, and we've been friends. So I feel like that's been part of it. And the other part of our chemistry is if you just look at Rudy's history, man, he's just been able to make every driver go fast. So I think a lot of it stems from his ability to prepare fast race trucks. His trucks are so good, and he makes every driver, it seems like, go good.
Let's talk a little bit about the conditions at Kentucky. You had some practice on Wednesday, even though that was delayed by flights. good couple long practice sessions. They were doing the tire dragging out there as well in the lower groove primarily, but then a bunch of rain came in and kind of washed all that off. When you got to the race Thursday into Friday, you were one of several guys who spun out but were able to keep the truck off the wall and drive it back to the front. What were those track conditions like, especially in the early going?
Well, whenever we arrived at the beginning of the weekend, it was really, really slick. I'm pretty sure my first lap on the racetrack was a high 32-second lap, and then quick time ended up being in the mid-29. So the track picked up a lot of grip there from the duration of practice, and I felt like everybody was expecting that same kind of transition in the race. But whenever we got going in the race, the track actually had a decent amount of grip, more than what I was expecting myself. So the track actually felt like it was pretty much ready right off the get-go. But the biggest thing was just the groove was so narrow, and the trucks are so aero dependent. Whenever you get a one groove racetrack like that, everyone has to run so tight together, and it's really tough to race like that.
What issues on Friday night or Friday morning, late Thursday night did you have to? Your truck was fast all night long. Did you guys have to make many adjustments during the race?
I'll be honest. I felt like our Tundra was really, really close. The first round of the day, I told my crew chief that I felt like I needed to be a little bit looser to go faster, and that ended up being the wrong call. Once I got back in traffic, I was just too loose, and then we had to tighten it back up. So I felt like our Tundra had really good balance right from the get-go, which was fairly surprising because we expected it to go through a changing period as the track revved back up. But we were really good right from the get-go.
Christopher, now you guys have an off weekend coming up before you get back to that midweek race at Eldora, and I know that's one you're looking forward to. Got your first career win in the truck there a couple of years ago. When we get back there, I think that's a time where most eyes are going to be on you and a handful of the other guys who are excellent dirt track racers. What can we expect now that we've had several years of racing at Eldora under our belt? At first, it seemed like, the series was kind of like a fish out of water there, but now a lot of guys are really getting the hang of it.
Yeah, I feel like you can see all the truck regulars continuing to grow and get better and better at this race each year. And the series as a whole, like you said, is getting better at it. Everybody's becoming more prepared, and the weekend's getting, or I guess midweek, is getting more fluent as far as practices. The track prep is getting better and better each year. This, what I call the week of Eldora, is my second favorite week of the year. So I'm heading up there Thursday. I'll get to run 3 sprint car races for the Kings Royal at Eldora, and then stay up there and run the truck race on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year, and I love dirt racing, and I know a lot of other people out there do too.
Catching up with Christopher Bell, race winner in the Camping World Truck Series on Thursday night, early into the Friday morning. You mentioned running some sprint cars. You've also had the ability to run a couple of Xfinity races at Charlotte, and I believe one other track.
Iowa, yeah.
Yeah, Iowa. And I'm wondering to know if running these other series, does it make you better in the truck, or is it completely different? And one of the things I always hear when I talk to drivers as they move up in series is they're amazed at how they think they're driving a truck really hard, but then they go to the Xfinity or even the Cup, and it's like, wow, I thought I was driving hard. Well, I really got to pick up my game. Do you sense that as you run these other series?
The biggest thing I can tell from running other series is that it's just more seat time for me. As a young driver who's fairly new to pavement, that's the biggest thing for me, is just getting more laps. And getting more laps on the radial tires that NASCAR uses is huge for me, because that's probably been one of the hardest transitions I've had to go through as a race car driver, because the radial tires are so different than anything that I grew up racing on. So I feel like just running the Xfinity races and getting used to radial tires has been key for me.
As we look forward, obviously you're running for the championship in the Truck Series, but what's the rest of that Xfinity schedule look like for you for the remainder of the year? I know you still have a handful left.
So I've got one more race in the middle of the year, late middle of the year at Richmond, and then I'll do the last 4 starting, I believe, at Kansas. And I'll be bouncing back and forth in between the 18 and the 20. So I'm excited to get back in the Xfinity deal, and especially at the end of the year, I feel like it will really help my truck program as well, just getting all those extra laps throughout the course of the weekend.
Yeah, definitely going to be fun to watch that growth and development, and you work that Xfinity car. It's definitely very good equipment at Joe Gibbs Racing. And Christopher, look forward to catching up with you at Eldora. I know you're going to be one of the guys everybody's going to be keeping an eye on there, and congratulations on a fine start to the season.
Thank you.
There you go, and what a story. 3 wins already this season. He's second in the standings. Johnny Sauter, the defending champ, is out front by 28 points right now. But, man, Bell keeps piling up these wins. He's going to be a handful in the playoffs as well.
You know, 4 rookies have the big R next to their name in the top 10. But realistically, Christopher Bell is only in his second full year. He's run 3 total years, but only 1 complete year. So not only do we have all these rookies, but really Christopher Bell is a rookie almost. He's like almost a rookie. You know, he'd be R2 if we, for you guys show, we have an L2. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a new young driver that's in his second full year, but in his first year with his crew chief. So still building. Realistically, that relationship with him and his crew chief Rudy is still building. And with a 30% winning percentage here in 2017, wow, we're in trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And when we head to Eldora, that's always a blast as well. I got to go for the first time last year and looking forward to it again. All right, one more time out here on MRN Motorsports Monday. We'll take a look at some Xfinity action and look ahead to New Hampshire.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP auto expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
1 bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
It's almost the most refreshing time of the day, Bush O'Clock, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Bush beer. Bush's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going fishing, nothing is better when it's time to relax than a crisp, cold Bush. It's Bush O'Clock, so grab a 6-pack of Bush beer for the cooler, start the grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bush Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm Eric Jones, and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane.
There you go, Eric Jones welcoming us back here on MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. And today you can get, if you're listening on a Monday,
a free bloomin' onion.
Go by and tell them Kevin Harvick got the top 10 finish. Got to get the bloomin' onion.
Give me my free bloomin' onion.
Check the Joey menu as well. Xfinity Series racing. Kyle Busch wins and people start losing their minds. When another Kyle wins, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, we're beating a dead horse. I'm actually have a meeting with another media member. I'm not sure why we have to point out when the Cup guys run other series. It is what it is. Let's just accept it. All we're doing is dragging something down for no purpose. It's like talking about the empty seats in the stands instead of talking about the people that are actually there. But Kyle, he drove a good race. Ryan Blaney clearly had a faster car, got penalized late in the race, but was able to make his way back up to the top. So points-wise, the team is very important for that because Penske Racing is still leading that Owners' Championship. You're like, why does it care? Why do we matter? And that's why. We're still trying to get a championship in the Owners' Series.
With a variety of different drivers behind the wheel.
Exactly right.
The top finishing regular was William Byron, the rookie, after he had won 2 straight. Elliott Sadler continues to lead the points over Byron, his teammate, by 45. Another teammate, Justin Allgaier from Junior Motorsports, 3rd in the standings. And the rookie, Daniel Hemrick, a top 10 finish. He's 4th in the standings as we head to New Hampshire this weekend. Very flat track, difficult to get a handle on. What can we expect?
Well, one of the best tickets in racing simply because we have the Monster Energy, we have Xfinity, we have Camping World, we have Can-Am, we have Modified, we have late models. You can't go to a facility and see that much racing packed from Thursday to Sunday. It is very flat. Some people consider it a short track, but at a mile, the straightaways are extremely long. Braking is extremely important getting into one. You're trying to make all your cars not so loose that you can't enter the corner, but you have to get through the center and drive off. Every series will fight that this weekend.
And it's going to be a challenge to watch as well. I wonder, I haven't heard anything yet about what they might do in terms of tire dragging or VHT or any of that type of stuff.
Hope the Dragon stays at home.
Keep the Dragon in its cave this time. All right, that's going to wrap it up for another edition of MRN Motorsports Monday. Don't forget NASCAR Live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Next week, Motor Racing Network will be back with the truck race at Eldora, the Wednesday night midweek race there. It's all ahead on MRN Motorsports Monday. Check out MRN.com for more information.
MRN Motorsports Monday is presented by Outback Steakhouse. Tune in every Monday for another exciting episode right here on MRN.com. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand in MRN.com's Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, and in iTunes or the Google Play Store. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network.